Valentine's weekend, month. I recognize that a lot of you who will be watching the replay. So, of course, every day is a day that we want to create more love in our life. But of course, Valentine's weekend is a time when we're putting more attention there. It's more in our minds and in our hearts. And so for this Sunday, Valentine's Day, I've invited four of my favorite human beings, all of whom are teachers of love in their own unique ways. And so everybody's going to get a chance to share some of their wisdom and some of their magnificence. Our theme is how to attract more love into your life. And so briefly, I'll just kind of add here to the spotlight. We're going to start off with some amazing music with Pollyanna Bush, one of our favorite musical performers. And my teaching partner and straight talk partner, Trish Wright, and the wonderful Jessica Osterday, brain spotting goddess. And I don't know why his camera's off, but we also have, oh, there he is. Okay.
Adjustments, technical issues.
And the great Paul Sterling. So what an amazing all-star combination of people who are all going to share their wisdom, their tools. We're going to have a fun time. Welcome to the people in our Zoom room. Definitely want to, I'll be taking a look at questions and comments coming in, and we really will respond to your questions. And for those of you watching the replay, don't worry. If you put your questions in, I'll still go back over the next few days and take a look. Let's get us off to a musical start. So I'm going to put the full spotlight on Pollyanna Bush. Hey, Pollyanna, what you got for us this morning?
Good morning. Well, in the spirit of attracting the love that we want in our life, I wrote this song literally about attracting that love into my life and realizing that I get to embody that being of light and being of love and being attracted within myself. So this song is called Dedicated to You, which actually has a double meaning. It means dedicated to myself, dedicated the divine love that I am, and calling that forth and calling that in, and at the same time being that magnet for that beautiful man that feels that frequency with me. So I'm drawing that in, and I invite you to draw that in, first of all, by breathing into your own heart and feeling that incredible love that your heart is, and how powerful and beautiful and sensual and amazing, sexy and wonderful you are, and we are.
Beacon out
thank you so much. What a wonderful way to start this beautiful Valentine's offering. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Yeah. We're going to hear from more from Pollyanna a little bit later. But Pollyanna, what's the best way for people to get more Pollyanna Bush?
You can go to my website, pollyannabush.com, or you can email me at info@pollyannabush.com.
We'll pull that website up a little bit later after your next song. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
joining us. I'm going to really put the spotlight primarily on the wonderful speakers and guests that I've got today. But I am going to lead an opening, or a semi-opening. We already opened with Pollyanna, meditation. And then we're going to hear from Trish and Jessica and Paul and get their wisdom on how to attract more love in your life. But I always enjoy starting us off with a meditation on a Sunday morning. So inviting us all to close our eyes, unless you're operating a motor vehicle. I got that from Reverend Michael Beckwith. He always has that in there, you know. So, all right, let's close our eyes and let's just connect to breath. And let my voice gently guide. And as you connect to your breath, really going deep inside our beautiful body temples. Let's start this day of love by loving our bodies. How blessed we are to have this time in these remarkable human body temples where we get to experience all the sensations, so many amazing experiences we can have as human beings. Just noticing what your body has to say right now. Our bodies inform us when we slow down and we listen. So what is your body telling you? Do you need more food or rest, water, massage, maybe some movement? Just noticing what's going on with the body temple. How well resourced are you? What are the sensations and the emotions that might be more subtle than when you really drop into yourself, you notice? And of course, there's no good or bad. It's just whatever is what we want to be present to. And so noticing that and maybe making a commitment to yourself to support your body temple more fully today as an act of love for yourself. And then while we're in this dropped in space, what would more love in your life look like? Is it more connection with a specific person or a group of people? Is it more self-love, taking good care of yourself? Is it reaching out to someone that you miss that maybe you're shy or cautious to reach out to? Is it spending more time in nature, taking a bath, or doing something that's very nurturing for yourself? Perhaps attracting more love in your life is a professional aspiration, allowing yourself to open to receive more support, more acknowledgement, more appreciation. For those of you that are parents, maybe it's really asking for more support, appreciation, acknowledgement for all that you do for your family. Whatever it is, I invite you to really drop into what more love in your life would look like. And we're going to hear from some masters of love. So inviting us now to come back opening our eyes and coming back and kind of go to gallery view so you get to see these beautiful bright lights, these beautiful beings that I've invited to be on the show today. And I think, this week we really talked a lot about the greatest love of all being self-love. So I'm going to turn it over to Trish first because she is one of the goddesses of self-love. She and her partner Dawn run the Self-Love Show every Thursday morning. And hopefully it actually looks like Trish is frozen. So how are you doing there, Trish?
Very, 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 very. I'm just being very, very slow today. Sailing over here.
Well, I want to acknowledge, I've got the spotlight on Trish now. I want to acknowledge that Trish has had quite a week. She did her show on Thursday morning. She did Straight Talk on Friday night. She taught a class for Love Coach Academy yesterday morning. She was one of the stars of Saturday Night Live last night. This is it. This is your kind of grand finale for a little bit, and then hopefully you get to take a break.
I also spoke with 111 Unify.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was a really sweet connection around love and love of self and others. It was such a sweet, sweet connection with Dawn and Anastara and this stunning couple too that had the most incredible, cute little like couple cutesy things that they were doing. I don't know. I was just like melting. Oh.
Well, get us off to what are some tools of self-love to attract more love in our life?
Well, as you know, I mean, if any of you watched any of the things that I do, I say this a lot, is that the capacity at which you can love and accept and be compassionate with yourself is really in the capacity in which you can love another person. And in my definition of love, love is the acceptance of all, the acceptance of what is. So if you can love the crunchy, dark, shadowy parts of someone or yourself, then you can really truly offer that to another person. And so just a tool that I'd like to bring in and has been the theme for the last weeks of my life is what is this, just asking yourself, what is the most self-honoring choice I can make right now? And when I say this, it's not to exclude another, but it's to really think about what the wants and needs to be met are in your current place, in your current heart, like honoring the place that we're in, because we have been taught to kind of live in these codependent patternings, right? Where we don't get our own needs met. And so we're constantly overgiving. So when you come to a place where you can give and nurture yourself and self-source before you meet another person is really, I think, a key to self-love. Is like, okay, I'm going to take some time and I'm going to go nurture myself. I'm going to go take care of I'm going to go cry, or I'm going to go take a walk, or I'm going to go feed myself. I'm going to calm down so that I can meet you at 100%, not undersourced or, under-resourced and not fully at capacity is just one of the pieces. I know that the rest of the coaches have some other things, and I'm sure that we'll roll around them multiple times. So here's one.
Next time we roll around to you two, we want to hear from you about light touch, since you're one of the faces of light touch. Let's go to Jessica. And what's your opening thought about attracting more love into your life, Jess?
Oh, I'm so relaxed from that beautiful music and also the meditation. I feel like I need to sort of like bolster my energy a little bit because I just feel so Sunday-ish about being on the show this morning. It's really sweet and I'm appreciating that. When I drop in, I mean, of course I work on it in my role as a life coach and an empowerment coach. I'm very passionate about integrating the past so that we can be more available in the present. And I think that has both been my biggest impediment in love and in receiving the love that I want. And it's also, God, it's such a power point. Like when we feel like we actually have more of ourselves to give, it's just, I mean, it's love relationships, but it's every piece of life. It's every facet of life. It's going into the grocery store and being present with where you are, being able to interact in a way that feels healthy, even if you're not in the best state, you know? And I think that that's kind of when I think about healing the self in order to be present for love, it's to be present with our dear loved ones, but it's also to be present with the world. And it's coming back to that sense of self. I love Trisha's question so much. I took the course yesterday on Saturday morning, uh, and I actually am not remembering the exact languaging, so maybe Trish can like pop it in the box. But it's basically like, what's my best possible choice for me right now? Like, what's going to uplift me right now? And I love that because it just brings it back to present. So that's my little bit. I have some other like tips and tools that I'm excited to share, but for me, it's really a lot about coming present so that we can be available to what life has right now in whatever, you know, crazy, goofy, loving, fun, not so fun form that life takes in the present. So that's me.
God bless you. Thank you, Jessica. It's really
Yeah.
good to have you with us. My dear friend and now roommate, Mr. Sterling. What do you want to start with, Paul?
Well, I want to start with one thing. Like, how many of you out there, and I can see you through this modern technology, have had your heart broken, like in love? How about more than once, more than twice, more than 3 times? What I want to start with is what a courageous act it is to vulnerably lean back in again and say, I am going to make myself vulnerable again to love and be loved. And I'm sort of I got this big head. I come from my head a lot. And so I have models for relationships. And what Trish was talking about and Jessica was talking about is, if you drew a triangle, availability is one of the things we talk about. So how available are you? Number 2 is how capable are you? Like, someone could be a really available person, but you wouldn't want them to give you a root canal because they're not capable. So it's like, are people available in relationships? Are they capable? Have they got the skills? And are they willing to be courageous, to be vulnerable, to be compassionate? So like, for me, I look at things and make models out of them. And so that's how I kind of look at relationships, so that people can make sense of it and understand what they need: availability, capability, willingness. And I love what Pollyanna started with, is what are we dedicated to? You know, are we dedicated to creating a remarkable relationship? And are we willing to do whatever it takes? If we're not dedicated, don't expect it to be miraculous. And just so that people know, almost every master started out as a disaster. So there's hope for all of you, because I started out as a relationship disaster. And now, at least in some parts of the world, I'm considered a relationship master. And thank you, Scott, for being a champion of love around the planet.
Oh, thank you, Paul. Wow. You know, I'm going to kind of vulnerably acknowledge the wisdom of what Paul just said about availability, capability, and willingness. And I've been single for well over a year, actually about 1.5 years now. And that's like the longest I've ever been single as an adult. And I periodically complain about it. And Trish pointed out to me, she said, Scott, you're not very available right now. You're too busy. And I definitely have capability. I'm an amazing person in a relationship, and I have willingness. But it was like, oh wow, that really is true. I'm really not as available as I'd like to think I am. You know, I'm putting so much attention into other things right now. And so, you know, what Paul said is true. You know, it's like we have to really look at our availability, our capability, our willingness. And then if we're beginning to interact with somebody else or connect or date with somebody else, how available are they? How capable are they? How willing are they? And that's where we have to kind of take down the romantic blinders and really kind of be real with each other, real with ourselves. So, you know, thank you for that, Paul. That was great wisdom. I'm actually going to put the spotlight on Pollyanna because I'm not asking you to play another song yet, but she is also a great teacher of love. She actually leads in her way. She does vocal training and all that. So Pollyanna, I'm putting the spotlight on you. You need to unmute. What's your tip for attracting more love in your life?
Wow, I so resonate already with what's been spoken. Let me see. What could I add to that? Yeah, for me, the like the speaking about the codependent piece, and there's so much codependency that's going around, and I mean that we have been taught, right? And so for me, the biggest healing and the biggest journey into myself, into loving myself, which I think is, step number one, right, is to stop thinking that I can fix somebody and then they're going to show up and be that person. So I get to be the one showing up. Who I can't remember who. I think it was Dr. Joe Dispenza. He said, "Would you go out with you?" I was like, "Oh my God, I love that." It's like, wow, you got this list, right, of all these qualities that you want in this other person. It's like, okay, check yourself. Like, do you have that? Would you go out with you? And I say that with love. I say that with lightness and love, and like, hey, we're all on this journey. And so much about attracting love is really falling in love here. And I love what has already been spoken about, the crunchiness and the this and that. It's not about getting it all down. It's about like, wow, I love myself here. And then the lightness and the ability to actually see all of a person and find out, yeah, we match, our values match, and we have a lot that we can bring to each other without it being about like, if I just get together with that guy and he just kind of fixed a little bit of this and a little bit of that, we'd be good. So I say let go of the codependency and come here, come home, come home. It's a really great place to be.
That's beautiful. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. You're getting twinkling from Trish.
I like twinkles.
We twinkle here in Love Coach Academy. I gotta actually go to gallery view for a minute here. It's interesting when you talked about what I go out with myself. And I'll just be kind of vulnerable. There's times I look at the mirror and I go, oh God, forget it. It's over. Really. And then there's other times that I'm like, I'm so fucking awesome. You guys have that where it's like there's times you really know how awesome you are, and there's other times it's like, oh, forget it. Who's gonna want to wake up with this? And it just really is amazing. It's usually one extreme or the other. I don't know if you guys have that or not.
How perfectly human. And I don't know about y'all like male body testosterone runners, but it really cycles with my hormones. I'm like, oh, like, if you like to date someone who's on the waves, come swim with me. Yeah, Scott. I think
Scott, I want to riff off of one other thing Pollyanna said, which is it's like, if you think about it, we're either the catch, we're the compromise, or we're the catastrophe. When people get in a relationship with us, and the illusion from Hollywood is the catch is either like the football jock or the cheerleader, the beautiful person. But when I'm talking about the catch is the one who sees the beauty in you and brings out your best. And you're not like the codependent thing is, I need to be with the most beautiful person because that means something about me, versus the spiritual side, which is, wow, we bring the best out in each other. So am I the catch? Am I the compromise? Or am I the catastrophe? And I can totally relate to what you're talking about, Scott, about looking in the mirror. And, sometimes I go, wow, how the hell did I get old? Like, and I don't really, it's like, wow. And it's, do I bring the best out in somebody?
Mm.
Do I make them feel good about themselves, or do I point out all of their weaknesses and their flaws and their, so what is that? And how do I treat myself? That's the other side that, we're talking about this relationship with ourselves. Am I the catch for me? Like, do I treat myself like I'm the catch, or I'm the compromise? God, I wish I was somebody else. And most of my early life, I was a compromise. I wanted to be my older brother. He got the women, he got the race car, he was the one who had charisma. And it looked really sexy from the outside. He was miserable on the inside, ended up killing himself because he didn't know how to communicate with himself. He was great communicating with others.
Mm.
So it's like, are we our own catch, or are we like hoping that somebody else is going to come rescue us? So
Beautiful, beautifully stated. Jessica.
I love this conversation and I love what's happening here. I am so blessed and honored to be sharing this Zoom space with you all because I just care for each of you so much. Pollyanna, you're new, but I really appreciate your energy. So one thing that I feel like, as far as, I think that as a female-bodied person who is an intuitive and an empath, often that judgment state for me has come in the form of feeling states of, am I too much? Is this too much? Am I allowed to share this deeply and this honestly with another human being? And will I be accepted in that space? And so I think that like a lot of the things that I work with are in my realms of understanding. I think there's an element of accepting sort of, accepting our sense of emotional humanness, being able to hold it as we would, in our hands gently and with kindness, and, sharing that with another human being. So it's like those insecurities, whatever they may be emotional, maybe physical, maybe there's other things, like holding them gently with another human being in that vulnerability. And maybe like taking out the judgment for it, taking out the judgment state and just being present as is. But I think that it does come down to self-love, because how am I relating to this judgment state? Am I projecting that judgment state onto another human being in order to either be rejected or accepted, depending on our own attachment patterns? And so for me, it comes back to this: how do I so I do a lot of empowerment stuff, right? So I'm a big freaking goof. Like Trish has pointed out, I have like a pretty awkward laugh. Like I love Star Trek and I reference it regularly. There's a lot of pieces to who I am and how I want to show up, but how do I hold my insecurity in a way that is empowering? That's a big question for me. Because I think it allows other people to be goofy and human and messy sometimes, and all of those things too, that's like that's the juice. That's what we want to share. Those are the places where we get to connect and get to fall deeply in love, because sometimes I make chicken noises. Oh my God, Trish, do you make chicken noises too? Do you want to do it? Can we do it?
I want to hear it.
So mine, okay, I'll just give you a little backstory. Mine, I also have an epic T-Rex that is too physical for me to do on Zoom. But mine is that I will randomly throw out a burgak. So we could be talking and it gets a little bit awkward, and then just a little like, burgak. I have truly done this on first dates before. It can be disarming. It can also be awkward. So, burgak? It's understated, but you have to use it appropriately. So, Trish, do you have something to share with the group?
Wow. See, this is actually what I want to talk on for a moment. Like, would I date Jessica in all her chickeniness? Yes, I would. And
Thank you. I love you too.
yeah. I'm also pretty awkward and disarming too. There's a lot of little uniquities or quirkiness that I think that there's this idea that love is supposed to be all and I know, right, Scott? You're like, oh, it's just supposed to look like that. And as much as I want to believe that as much as I want to believe that when I find someone or when you find someone and we find someone, we're just going to bring out the best in someone, I actually kind of think that it's about loving yourself and them in their worst,
Mm.
in the places where it hurts. Because we're human. We're messy, we're awkward, we're some of us are traumatized. We have all these weird fucking things that we've been doing, sorry, these things that we've been doing for I don't know, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. We have habits. We pick our nose. We bakak in the middle of like coffee in the morning. Sometimes you'll make a joke about fish kisses when you're doing the things that you do in bed. Like, and that's the stuff. I call it your poop cycle. Like if you can love someone in their poop cycle. I know this is Trisha's inner brain here. Sorry, but it's like it covers everything to their awkward stuff that they like they stub their toe and they curse in this particular way, or their rhythm, their habits, the things that are could be potentially annoying. And oh, you learned my poop cycle. Can you love me there? And
Mm.
that's the thing that I've been really focused on is like when someone shares their insecurity. My lover right now, he shares this thing when I like share something really deep. He'll look at me and say, thank you for sharing that with me. And the practice of thanking someone and sharing their depth, their scared, their fear, their little child is so lovely. And the thing that I bring in is I can love you there.
Mhm.
And it's something that I say to myself in the mirror. It's something that I say to someone and if it has to come from the truth, the authentic place. Like if Jessica's feeling awkward and she pacocks, and I'm like, oh, thank you. Thank you for showing that piece right there. You're like, you're naming something. Thank you for that. And I can love you there too. And I can love us in this awkward, crunchy space.
Beautiful, beautiful. I want to read a couple comments from people that are watching, and I'm loving what everybody's sharing, and all about the humanness. Um, Nancy has just been writing up a storm, so thank you, Nancy. Nancy started clucking, said it's time to lay an egg, and she said to Jessica, "I love your laugh," and Star Trek also. Speaking of Star Trek, I realized there is a similarity, not physically, but when you talk about that goofy, Star Trek Discovery, the super brilliant gal who's the redhead, I'm not remembering her name, but on the new Star Trek Discovery. And she's always like, she's so socially awkward, but she's also brilliant. Anyway, I was thinking about her because I'm a big Star Trek fan also. And Lorna writes, love shines its light in all the dark places. Absolutely. And isn't that again what what you're talking about? One last thing I'll say and then open it back up. When I'm working with couples, especially couples that are almost every couple that reaches out to me, they're struggling, they're having a challenge. And so one of the things that I do to create connection, as opposed to going right into, so what did he do that drove you crazy? I like to get them back into connection. And so I'll ask them to remember, what's a time when you felt really loved and really well cared for by the other? And I thought of this when Trish was talking just now, because it's not the honeymoon, it's not some sexy time. It's when they were vulnerable and the other one was there for them. And that's like mature love. That's the more deep, mature love we're looking for is, hey, can you still love me when I'm struggling? When you are when we're in awareness of my issues, can you still love me? Can you be there for me? Or are you going to judge me? Are you going to make me wrong? And that's just so huge. The flip side of it that's interesting is that whenever we are dynamically attracted to someone or sexually attracted to someone, I always ask, like, if I'm working with somebody and they're married and they're very sexually attracted to somebody they're working with, what do you perceive that person's qualities are that you're turned on by? Because it's actually when we don't know someone that well and we're sexually attracted, we're actually sexually attracted to our projection of qualities that they have, which we perceive we're lacking in ourselves or that we want to cultivate more of in ourselves. So I just wanted to get that tool into the mix today because it's a really important thing to look at. All right, Paul.
God, what I want to dive into here, because we've got a representation of the feminine and the masculine in the women's movement and equality, sometimes what's happened is we've made it about sameness. And equality doesn't equal sameness. And there's differences between the masculine and the feminine. And how can we enjoy those differences? Like I kid, because I spent 18 years as a commercial fisherman in Alaska. So that is the land of the dudes. And a lot of times in relationships, the feminine doesn't always know how to speak to the masculine, doesn't know how to speak dude. And dudes don't always know how to speak about feelings and needs. I've literally had a client that told me they were ex-military, that they would rather jump out of an airplane at night with a parachute into enemy territory than sit on the couch and talk about their feelings and needs with their partner. And so it's like learning how to do this dance without emasculating the masculine and without objectifying the feminine. How do we dance with our differences in a way that creates passion and pleasure and joy? And to give a lot of men have been, I call it neutered. They've lost their growl because they're worried about the impact. And a lot of men have done a lot of bad stuff. So it's important that we look at that. But it's like how to give back our polarity between the masculine and the feminine. I'd love to hear some of the feminine side of this. So it's enjoying our differences rather than homogenizing the men and women, the masculine and feminine energies. So I'm going to leave that at that for right now and invite the feminine to jump on that.
Yeah. Yeah, take it away, Pollyanna.
Well, when I'm hearing you talk about the masculine and feminine, I know that we all have those energies, balances of masculine and feminine. So it's not, I mean, the women aren't the complete ownership of feminine, and men aren't the complete ownership of masculine. So that's one thing. And I know that in terms of like a spectrum of who we are and how we identify gender wise, my goodness, there's just, such a broad range, right? And I think it's really just important for men and women in any gender, whatever you identify, to really start to tap into what are the energies that are working within me, and how do I honor that in myself, and then how do I be authentic, right, in this relationship, and be met and have an honest conversation about it. I think there's a lot of confusion right now about what is masculine, what's feminine. Does that mean man? Does that mean female? And I don't really identify very strongly with either one or both. You know what I mean? So I think the conversation isn't opened up enough. We need to open up the conversation, and we just did. And so I love that, for man, like you're speaking as a man, saying, there's this experience of feeling neutered, and I believe that a lot of men do feel that way, and I think there's a lot of shame and a sense of the shadow side of what a lot of men have done, and so that makes it hard for them to embody those parts of themselves, that growly part, which, by the way, I love. That's hot. So I just had that to say.
Thank you, Pollyanna. Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that I notice as a coach is how often, uh, especially as we get older and we have been hurt, those veils of past pain get in the way. And people start projecting the pain, their unresolved pain about their father or the previous husbands or boyfriends or the previous girlfriends or the mother onto the new relationship. And so learning, really, I think we all have to be a little bit, or actually more than a little bit, significantly self-realized to be able to recognize, oh, wow, this is my mother's stuff coming up right now. Oh, wow, you know what? I just turned you into my ex-wife. Oh, wow, I'm now, being able to notice and acknowledge when those veils of past pain come down. Because when we project it onto the other, then it's like, of course, we get defensive. I also really want to open it up. We've got some wonderful people. We've got 15 people in our Zoom room, and we've got people writing to us. So Nancy writes, I listen first. This is kind of back on looking for partner. Nancy writes, I listen first for humor, and then a kind heart and spirit, and then how vulnerable I can be and accepted. Physical looks can be transformed into super gorgeous, even if they're not. Then the intimacy experience. Heart first, then upper head, and then lower head, if you catch my drift. Well put, Nancy. Good job. I like that. Trish, I noticed that Jay Mayer is with us, and it is true that some of us practice light touch. Tell us a little bit about how light, as the face or one of the faces of light touch, tell us a little bit about light touch, because I definitely want to get that in there.
Yeah. Well, light touch is a really beautiful practice in manifesting and magnetizing your spiritual lovely manifestations, really drawing amazing things to you, but it's also really psychologically, it helps to bring you into the frontal lobe. Light touch is a practice in prayer, in community. So every morning at 8:30, there's a group of us that practice this sweet, sweet, sweet practice of light touch, and it's gently caressing your skin just so slowly to drop yourself into presence, as Jessica was talking about, dropping into that slow touch and bringing awareness to what you want to pray for. So something that we love to bless is our blessings. Like, thank you for blessing our blessings. Thank you for blessing all light touch practitioners. Thank you for blessing our partners. And it's a practice in gratitude. So every morning you're practicing gratitude with a group of people or yourself or your partner. And it's a really great way to align your values, align your heart center with yourself and with others. It's a really beautiful practice. And I invite you to check it out. And come on.
Jay made this little video.
Light touch is a wonderful way to bring both emotional and physical intimacy into our relationships. Light touch is also
Come
a
on, not hearing the
wonderful way.
sound. I thought
We are hearing the sound. You're not hearing the sound.
Let's try that again. No, you know what? I've got the sound on.
We hear the sound.
Hang on.
We hear you
For us
too.
to attract or magnetize.
For some reason, the sound isn't playing.
No, it's playing.
Trish, see what happens when she practices light touch?
Thank you
Look
for
at all the
spiritual
love
wellness.
that
Thank
Trish is
you.
receiving as she
Thank you.
practices light
Thank
touch.
you.
All right.
Thank you
for transforming my
Oh,
relationships.
and now, of course, the audio
Thank you for
comes
the
on.
most divine.
We could actually hear the video.
Well, you know what's funny? I couldn't.
I know. I can love you there, Scott.
See. Even so, you still love me when I'm when the technology is failing me, or I'm failing the technology, or something like that.
Let's talk about that for a second. Is any if I'm upset or if I have a reaction towards something that you do, you're just behaving like a normal human. You're just doing you. And who's feeling the upset?
Mm-hmm.
So it's really actually me honoring and owning my own feelings on the inside and working it out, because you're just doing you, Scott. Like, you just you just move around the world. I truly have this belief that if you were the only person, if I was the only person on the planet, that there would be no problems, right? I wouldn't create problems for myself. But that's not how it works. Like, of course, if I'm the only person on the planet, self-love is easy. But it really is about relationships, right? It's about how you communicate and how you love another person. So my upset has nothing really to do with you. I'm just grumpy and pissy because I've got other things that I need to, belief systems and wants and needs. And I got all these things that I gotta like work out. And so part of loving yourself and loving another person is working out your own inner stuff. Before you come to that person, become resourced so that you can show up in deep love for someone else. Like, hey, yo, I had this experience and I was upset. And you might have been the person to trigger it. And this is what I got to. And yes, I can still love you there because I can love me there too.
Mm,
That makes sense?
beautiful. And sometimes we need a coach like Trish to support us with this sort of thing. And you're looking at some really wonderful coaches here. And I'm actually going to put the spotlight on Jessica for a moment, because again, in my moment of vulnerability, Jessica is someone that I've gone to for support. Yes, Scott, the guy who runs Love Coach Academy, sometimes needs support. And Jessica is who I've been going to recently. And she's got this amazing thing she does called brain spotting. So I'm going to give each of you as a coach a moment to talk about your form of coaching and your availability, starting with Jessica, who is my coach.
Oh, Scott, I love you so much. So what I do, I do life coaching and empowerment coaching, but primarily my passion is brain spotting. And the reason for this, one of the reasons I'm so passionate about this is because, of my own past, right? So let's say 10 years ago or 8 years ago, when I first got involved with the Love Coach Academy, I was learning all of these tools. But what would happen is that my reptile mind, the lower part of the mind, like the midbrain and the brainstem, were really overriding my ability to use those tools in a conscientious way. And, of course, the relationship that I was in when I was trying to apply the skills, like I don't think it had long-term potential now from my more wisdom-based perspective now. And thank God, I learned the tools, but what my big impediment was that whenever I would get into a space when I really needed to use the tools, I wasn't able to because I would go into such a fight, flight, fawn, freeze response. And so my big passion is working with people to help to sort of unplug those triggers from the past and integrate at a really deep somatic level so that it's almost like the door to that trauma or those past pain stories is just closed. And this is the most effective practice that I've found. I'm so deeply passionate about helping my clients find the freedom for their own purpose and path in their lives. It's such a huge gift to watch people transform. I mean, it's amazing. So, and so if this sounds like something, if you've got some past stories, some stories that are anchored in the past, negative belief systems, generational problems, this is what I love to work with. So please go to my website. It's jessicaosterday.com. And if you scroll to the bottom, you can just book a 20-minute consultation and we can see if there's like a natural fit between us. And that's how to best proceed. It's, I'm so honored by the work that I get to do with people. It's just, this is why we do it, right? You guys, come on. It's freaking incredible to see people's lives change and to save them so much time and pain in the process. So that's me. Love you.
It's true. Something that Jessica is really good at, because I work with her. I just recently did some work with her, and it reminded me of how my most challenging issues are so connected to my childhood stuff. And, that so often is really the case. And I really believe that a big part of our life at this time, especially in pandemic time when a lot of our distractions have been taken away. We have more time to tune in and to work on certain things. And a lot of that is working on our ancestral stuff. We all carry, you probably know about epigenetics, but in case you don't, it's been proven that before we're even born, when we're in our mommy's womb, we receive a genetic download of the trauma of our ancestors going back at least 7 generations. Now, when you kind of do that exponentially, 7 generations, it's a lot of people that suffered in just about every imaginable way. And we have their trauma inside of our DNA before we're even born. And so now that we are in this time where we do have tremendous freedom, and we have all these tools, we have compassionate communication and EFT and brain spotting and all the different therapeutic modalities, Trish and her clinical sexology, and all, Pollyanna and her vocal, getting in touch with yourself through your voice. We have all these wonderful ways to work. And when we're working, it's not just our personal issues, it's inevitably our ancestral lineage stuff that we have the opportunity to heal, or to at least learn how to honor it, how to manage it, how to work with it. So thank you, all of you amazing coaches, for the wonderful ways that you teach and coach and help people enjoy life more fully. Because, today it's all about attracting more love into our life. And so much of that is clearing the past, learning how to work with the past, learning how to work with what we were born with or what we experienced environmentally. So I'd love to give Pollyanna, Trish, and Paul a moment to talk about your particular forms of coaching and how people can reach you. Paul, it looked like you had your hand.
Pollyanna, go ahead. You said her first, so go for it.
Okay. It's just because I saw her on the screen for.
No,
She's a little cuter too, so we'll go there.
There's no competition.
Pollyanna, I got the spotlight on you. Tell us about your vocal coach training that you do.
Well, I'm actually right now just recently started a 6-month training called the Empowered Singer, which combines all my skill as a vocalist and work with transformation. So that's a training that I'm offering right now, where people have an opportunity to literally learn how to sing in an optimal way and sing whatever it is they want, whatever their heart's desire is, and also to infuse their singing with presence and with ways of being, and what is it that they truly want to talk about dedicate their singing to, and how you can actually use the voice as a way. It's basically alchemy, changing the space, changing what's happening with you inside, ways to heal yourself with your own voice, and also how you can offer it and create more healing and connection and harmony in the world, even if it's you singing by yourself and just really truly it's like it's the light touch of the voice and how it goes in and how you're healed and you feel your all the cells in your body come to life and that you're vibrating. So I offer that. I also offer private one-on-one coaching, and I work with people from one end of the spectrum to the other, people who have never sung before to people that are professional and getting ready for big stage performances and so forth. So whatever your goal is regarding singing, if you want to sing at the bedside or sing to your kids or just sing for your own joy and pleasure, come see me.
So I pulled up, it's easy to find her. It's her name, PollyannaBush.com, POLLYANNA Bush.com. And yeah, her Empowered Singer, if you go to her website and you click on Empowered Singer, wow, look at that picture. You can, and people can still join your vocal training, even though it started last week. Can they still come in?
Yes, if people are hot to really want to jump
Pollyanna,
in.
you're muted.
Oh, am I muted?
No, she's not muted.
Yes,
Yeah, I mean, there I could take a couple of more spots. If you jump on right now, we can work you into that, and it'd be wonderful to invite you into that. Otherwise, there will be some other group offerings coming up, and also again the one-on-one coaching where we design what it is that you want to work on.
Beautiful. You know, I think something's going on with my computer that when I go to other things, I can't hear it. So that's weird. All right. The great Paul Sterling, putting the spotlight on you. But actually, here is the book. I guess I need to do this. Here it is, this wonderful book that Paul wrote, Argue Less, Love More. And Paul, I'm going to go to your website in a moment, but tell us a little bit about what you offer.
And when you do that, Scott, if you just go to the arguelesslovemore.net/free book, people can get a copy of it. So I work with couples. Most relationships don't end because of a lack of love. They end because you run into problems that are bigger than your skill set. And so what I do is I help people improve their relationship skills. And if you think about, I come from a background of quality control and business and making the invisible visible. So relationships are more complicated than we want them to be, but they're simpler than we think they are if you have a model. So I want you to picture this: 3 circles, the Venn diagram. There is the heart set, the skill set, and the mindset. And the mindset is one of the most critical ones because it's invisible. It's your habits, patterns, and beliefs. So either they're supporting or sabotaging you. And what I do is help people make those unconscious sabotaging behaviors visible. And when they come to me, they think that the problem is sitting next to them. I'm just here with my partner because I want to make sure they show up. And what we do is we get away from who's to blame to what skills and tools do you need to you become a team. And it's either you and your patterns against your partner. And this is where like the work that Jessica does that's so powerful is to identify and eliminate some of those patterns. Or it's you and your partner eliminating the painful patterns of the past. So what I do is work with them, and it's a big commitment. We work together for at least 3 months, and it transforms people's relationships. It's really exciting. And part of the work, the reason I do it is because I watched my parents go through an incredibly painful divorce after 18 years of being together. And it wasn't because of a lack of love. It's because their communication tools sucked. That's a technical term. And it destroyed them. And then I watched my first marriage and my only marriage get destroyed. And that was at the 18-year mark. The pattern got passed generationally down, as Scott was talking about. And that's where I wrote my book. It's like I looked at the patterns that I had and I wanted to stop the pattern so it didn't go to the next generation. So I help couples speak the language of dude and dudess and really enter each other's worlds so they both feel heard, understood, and valued, and transform it. The last thing is when it comes to skill sets, there's a million different skills you can learn out there, but there's 3 reasons to learn the skills. Number 1 is how to clear up the past. And what Trish talks about, what Jessica talks about, what Scott talks about, it's like, number 1, if you don't clear up the past, you're not going to be available. Number 2 is, can you be present? Can you be with your partner's pain and insecurity and all the rest of it? And if you can't clear up the past, it shows up in the present and there's no possibility for the future. So if people are interested in that, I spend about 30 minutes with them to find out if we're a fit. We get clear where you are, where you want to go, and what are the roadblocks, and what would be a clear plan to create a breakthrough in your relationship. So that's pretty much it, Scott.
All right, I'm going to your website just so everybody knows. Again, to get Paul's book for free, go to arguelesslovemore.net/book. And of course, you can also then, find out more about Paul. I didn't get a chance to go to Jessica's website while she was talking.
Hold on, Scott, 1 second. It's go to free. If they want the book for free, they have to go to free book. If they go to book just book, they have to pay the $19.97. So this is a special for this group.
Okay.
So free book, and then thank you.
All right, very good clarification there. Thank you. I was trying to get you an extra $20 per pop there, pal.
Okay,
You know,
then just go to book.
hey, you know, I didn't get a chance to go to Jessica's website. And it actually is a really lovely website. And again, you can get a free discovery session with Jessica. Just fill out where it says free discovery session. So look at that. Oh my gosh. Yes, that was me before Jessica worked with me. So thank you. And she really is a wonderful, wonderful coach, as is Paul, as is Trish. And speaking of Trish, it's your turn, my dear. Tell us about what you're offering and who you really enjoy working with.
Well, I am a trauma-informed self-love codependency coach and a certified sex coach. My passion really lives in helping people cultivate healthy relationships and understand healthy relationship styles. I'm really, really passionate about teaching children that. I'm starting to develop classes and workshops there for the youth to understand healthy skills and when things are not healthy. I'm super duper interested in helping people really understand where they abandon themselves and to really empower themselves and their partners to live in their FES, to live in their truth, their sovereignty. My work really truly empowers people to take ownership of their perspective, their lives, their sovereignty, the way they step into the world, lovingly, compassionately. My work involves a lot of embodiment practices, some Gestalt, nonviolent communication, humanistic behaviorism. There's a lot of little pieces meshed in there. And I come from a very heart-centered approach, very holistic approach. What else do I want to say?
Well, while you're thinking about that, I'm going to go to your website. And you know, her website, it really is so Trish. Embodied dash happiness. Don't forget to miss the dash, because the dash is important. It's embodied-happiness.com. And you know, because I get to work with Trish quite a bit, you know, we have our show on Friday nights. She really does embody happiness. And she understands, look at what's right at the top, the path to radical self-acceptance. And I want to say that, as best as I can tell, the key to self-love is radical self-acceptance. So I really appreciate that it starts right there. And she's going to do. And the more that we can accept ourselves in a radically loving way, that's when the embodied happiness actually comes, you know? So she's got those keys. And plus I love that picture of her on the roller coaster, or on the merry-go-round, I mean. So yeah. All right, now you have had time. That was me filling in for you so you could form your next thought, Trish.
Yeah, I'm the right coach for you if you want to bring balance to your emotional and energetic bodies, to develop more connected relationships with yourself and others, and to really fully dissolve the places where you project out resentment. Like I'm here to help you walk the path that you want and get out of your own way. So more love, more trust. You know, especially like I'm realizing just now actually that most of my work really relies on or focuses on helping people, whether you're single, whether you're in a relationship, or whether you're young. It really helps people really find their sovereignty and meet the other person in their full 100%-ness. So.
And she's brilliant at it, I must say. All right. Well, we are wrapping up. We're going to have some music from Pollyanna in a moment. On my end, I am not seeing new clients. I am totally booked solid with my current clients. But I am going to be starting a pair of courses in April. I'm teaching with all the people you're seeing right here, the Relationship Essentials course that will begin April 3rd. I'm also going to be starting a new mentorship program. So if you're interested in that, you can send me a private message. We also have a really cool master relationship series that Trish taught her class yesterday, and she and I are going to teach a couple more classes together. Jessica's coming up, Paul is coming up, and I will put the link to that in the chat boxes, both here in the Zoom room and on Facebook, while Pollyanna serenades us.
Hey, Scott, can I jump in and say something about you? The Relationship Essentials course is really well named. It's the essentials. Like if you want to have a remarkable relationship, you need remarkable relationship skills. Set yourself up to win. All of us coaches have all been through Scott's course at least once and probably 2 or 3 times. If you think about it, it's almost like the relationship gym. Go do your push-ups, be able to do things, set yourself up to win. Don't expect yourself to be a relationship master if you haven't put in the time and learned the skills. Come and go to this course and invest in yourself. It's not about, is the course worth it? It's, are you worth it? Is your relationship worth it? People end up investing in their relationship with a divorce attorney rather than on the front end setting themselves up to succeed. It's such a small cost. It's such a valuable thing. And you're ending patterns and habits from generations. And you're setting your kids up to win because you become an example of possibility versus a warning what not to do. So Scott's kind of understating the power of this course, but this is his life's work. This is where he's taken the essence of over 20 or maybe almost getting closer to 30 years of work and put it into one class that takes some time, and come and get the best of Scott and really the best for yourself. So Relationship Essential is pretty essential if you want to have a relationship.
Oh, thank you, Paul. Thank you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And so we take care of each other. While he was doing that, I was putting the link to your book in the chat box there. So, you know, look, we all believe in each other, and we all have learned that life is relationship. If you want to change your life, you want to change your relationships. When we're happy in relationship, we're happy in life. When we're unhappy in life, it's because something's not working in our relationships. Life is relationships. So there's a lot of wonderful ways to get your relationships in order. One-on-one coaching with one of the people you're seeing here, Paul's book, or of course, my course, Relationship Essentials, which is a great course, which this time I'm teaching with Jessica and Trish and Paul and a couple of other love coaches, Timothy and Heidi. So it's going to be a great, great course. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you, those of you watching in the replay. Thank you, Nancy, for all your amazing comments. I'm really appreciating them. And for anybody watching the replay, still go ahead, put your comments in, and we'll do our best to get back to you. And as the show began, so the show shall end. All things begin and end, at least today, with Pollyanna.
Well, thank you for having me, Scott, and it's been wonderful to be here with you, Jessica, Paul, and Trish. Just such yummy beings that you are, and your gifts, and how you are empowering all of us to create that relationship and to heal, to expand, and then develop those beautiful relationships that we all want. So I want to end with a song called My Stars in My Galaxy. And it was something that you were talking about, Paul, when you were talking about vulnerability, and we've all spoken to it in a certain way, and just in terms of being willing to be seen, right? To be seen and to be heard, and to see and to hear. And I do know that is so essential. One of the essentials in relationship is to have that vulnerability, to share who you really are, share all your colors. This is called My Stars in My Galaxy. I'll paint you a rainbow of me. I'll give you my stars and my galaxy. Show you my bold and my sweet, my love, and give you every bit of me, and I'll sing you the song that you may hear my voice so full of longing that you would make a choice to understand and resonate in the land I come from. I'll take you there and paint you a rainbow of me. I'll give you my stars and my galaxy. Show you my bold and my sweet, my love, and give you every bit of me, and I'll take this risk. I'm willing to shed my skin so full of promise. Oh, when you let me in, to understand and resonate in the land you come from. Just take me there and paint your rainbow for me. Give me your stars and your galaxy. Show me your bold and your sweet, my love, and give me every bit of thee. Oh, my love, just give me every bit of thee. Oh, my love, I'll give you my stars and my galaxy.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. What a wonderful way to close this. I want to wish everybody a very beautiful day, a sacred Sunday. If you're watching this recording, whatever day you're experiencing. Thank you, Pollyanna, Jessica, Trish, Paul, and thank you all for watching. And remember that, as we kind of talked about, love is an action. And the more we give, it will come back. So let's create that cycle where we're giving and we're open to receiving. And I look forward to seeing all of you again on one of our upcoming shows. Take care, everybody. Have a beautiful day.